What's up, nerd? Welcome to the Factual Autistic Recreational Talk Show episode 5/6. This one's a double feature, and the two topics of discussion are why and what? Or, from medieval manuscript hellbounds to the 19th century behemoth livestock structures, how has man not learned how to draw a decent looking sheep still? I will explain, and we will learn all about meme culture in the 13th century and the unusually fat cow that took England by storm. But let's start with why. Do none of the drawings of animals in medieval manuscripts look any good? You see, an illuminated manuscript was really expensive. How expensive? Like, if it were an arcade price, it would probably be right up there with the mini Doom buggy, or around 53 shillings. To put that into perspective, you could buy a war horse for 50, and an average laborer earned just 40 a year. So chances of you, a peasant, owning one of these bad boys are about the same as owning a mini Doom buggy in 13th century England. So yeah, I, a medieval working lady, would be pretty pissed by the fact that I saved up 10 years for this stupid book and the drawings are absolute garbage. Yeah, I'll now explain why I'd actually be stoked instead. It's a well-known fact that most of these manuscripts were not illustrated by artists. They were made by calcium-deficient, overworked, and underfucked religious figures. The underfucked part is obvious, I mean they were monks, but it's also important to mention because all successful artists got laid all the time, dude. I would know. So no wonder Simon is having a hard time drawing an elephant or boar or whatever this is. Anyways, these virgins would spend weeks in poorly lit rooms making copies of the books. Perhaps because of this, a lot of them suffered from something called acedia, a despairing lack of concern, feeling hopeless and as if the sun is setting too slow, which historians agree is medieval for clinical depression. The monks were pretty fed up with their work and the poor conditions in the sweatshops, monasteries, and often wrote cute little pleas that expressed their suffering in the margins of the books, one in particular writing, "Now I've written the whole thing, for Christ's sake give me a drink." So it's almost art, but not really. It's a grueling craft, and anyone with the slightest bit of talent was encouraged to paint. Also, the more little drawings, the better. Like these little rabbits that filled the pages and are basically there just so the reader can have fun looking at them. I paid good money for this. It better have a lot of pictures to look at. So cute, so whimsical, so needlessly violent. Yeah, the most probable explanation historians have for this is medieval humor. I don't want to judge because the minute I step out of my age group's humor, I am completely lost. And this kind of makes sense when the funny part is explained. People back then just really liked the subversion of roles. A rabbit, the most innocent and harmless of animals, is holding a sword? That's ridiculous. That would never happen. So it is funny. The drawings aren't that bad most of the time, and they are drawn to look very similar across different manuscripts. It's more of a symbol born in visual tradition than it is an art piece. And the best way I can explain this is cartoons. This isn't a fucking rat, okay? But it satisfies our expectations of a whimsy little cartoon rat. Just like this did back then, so for all we know, Simon over there could have been 14th century Walt Disney. Besides the memes, we also have these uglies, which, yeah, all the dude had was a description. I have never in my life seen an elephant, but the animal in the text reads like this. Yeah, I drew that. So just to show you how difficult this is, I made up an animal and will read its description to my assistant. He has to draw it, you feel free to play along and see how well you both do in the end. Okay, assistant.
Hello.
Are you ready?
Yes.
The animal is a mammal of about 15 centimeters high.
Okay.
It has no mouth and consumes through what appears to be a gap in its throat. Besides its dark mane, it is almost completely hairless, or rather has short and pale fur. It has 4 limbs and a hidden tail, bulging black eyes and a small snout, no whiskers like a dog, and small hidden ears like a sloth. It has extremely sharp teeth and 3 very long nails on each limb, and besides its size, it is still an apex predator in its habitat. That's hideous. Can you draw better?
Did it have a tail?
It did.
Okay, the tail is currently behind here, so I'll just point to that.
Those who have seen its tail have actually died.
I'll draw that too. Oh wait, this is like 15 centimeters tall, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the foot of the person who saw the tail.
Clearly said it has a snout.
Oh.
You've just drawn a slug.
Can I tell you what really threw me off? It's it does not appear to have a mouth. It has a gap in its throat. If I were to draw it again, I would actually probably draw it like, you know what? I think you've described an anteater.
It's a made-up animal.
Oh, it's a made-up animal.
Yeah, what animal did you draw then? This doesn't exist.
Wait, hidden tail. Yeah, I'm gonna censor the tail. That's why it's hidden.
I did say the snout is a small one. Would you like the description again?
I'm taking some liberties.
I can fire you so easily.
Would you like me to start again?
Do you want one last attempt?
Sure.
It has 4 limbs and a hidden tail, bulging black eyes, and a small snout. But on.
I didn't
You
know.
have to draw.
I didn't know it had a tail.
Of course it does.
Forgot about those claws. I actually think so. It's like it has a predecessor that it evolved from, where the mouth was visible, but then over years of evolution, the mouth disappeared into the throat, which is really crazy.
Over years of evolution and some budget cuts, I really thought you would just immediately draw Poopy when I said 15 centimeters.
I forgot that was also the canonical height of Poopy. I prefer my. Oh wait, can I quickly make a change to this one then?
You know what's your anteater looks like? It looks like the shrimp from Smiling Friends. Next episode, this is going to host the show. Did you have fun?
No.
Back in your cage. On to the next question. What? In the name of God is this? You've probably seen these paintings get memed today, but back in the 19th century, this was hot shit. Let me explain. The year is 1802, and basically, the fattest cow graced England with its presence. The public went completely nuts for it. Numerous paintings were commissioned of this cow, people just couldn't get enough. This cow was probably like the Korean boy band of its time, and the fan art actually started a trend. Wealthy livestock owners all wanted paintings of their own animals looking completely massive. Some were just of the livestock, and some pictured Jonas being like, yes, this is an accurate representation of how fat and awesome my animals are. Yours are not as big as mine, for you are poor and do not feed them as well as I do. They just look insanely proud because at the time, fattening up livestock was an art form itself. The farmers went to conventions with their prints acting like they've improved the breed. And this made them quite famous, while the people that bought the prints were looking to model their own livestock after them because ones that fit the beauty standards, for animals, were worth quite a lot. What a rip-off. That was all. Maybe in the next part, I'll talk about this dog, so you should probably subscribe. Bye.